I'm Patrick Scott. I'm from Yellowknife. I've gone through cancer treatment for prostate cancer. I was diagnosed with prostate cancer 2 years ago as a result of having a really bad cold that wouldn't go away. What happened was my family, and in particular my youngest daughter, got so tired of me coughing and sneezing. One day at work, she picked up the phone and made a doctor's appointment for me. And I only went because I thought I should respect her initiative. I wouldn't have gone otherwise. As I was about to leave the doctor's office, the doctor turned to me and said, "Oh, by the way, because of your age, when was the last time you had a blood test?" And I said, 5, 6 years ago, I don't even remember. He said, "Well, let's get one done." That question, that decision by him to say, "Let's get one done," triggered a series of events that led to my diagnosis and the discovery that I had cancer. It wasn't because there weren't some symptoms. It was because I was ignoring what was going on and didn't pay any attention to it and pushed it aside as not important. When I reflect back, there were all kinds of small, typical symptoms that could have raised red flags had I let them. And I think that's typical, that we start getting signals that there may be a problem. The fatigue is one of them. Problems peeing, frequent peeing. And you just ignore it. You think, "Oh, I'm getting old. That comes with old age. Your prostate typically grows, and it's no big deal." And you put it off, and the problems increase a little bit more. But because it's slow, you just think, "Well, that's just the natural progression of what's going on physically with me as I age," and you just ignore it completely. In my case, I was diagnosed, and I think this is typical for people here in the North. Then you get referred to the Cross Institute in Edmonton to see an oncologist. During that period of time of wait, one of the things you can do that really helps is start doing as much research, as much reading as you can, whether it's talking to other people who've had cancer and been through treatment. Find out about the different types of treatment options. Because what happens is you get there, you get into your appointment and they say, "Well, here are your options. How do you want to be treated? Do you want surgery? Do you want radiation? Do you want brachytherapy, which is a different type of radiation?" And you're kind of blown away, like, what will any of these things do to me? Well, you need to do your research, because there's no one you can turn to who gives you a full picture. So you have to take control of the situation yourself. One doctor said to me, "In our system, you have to be your best advocate. And if you can't have a family member, be your best advocate. Never go alone to a doctor's appointment. Take somebody with you." For a number of reasons, but one of the simple reasons is you have another pair of ears hearing what's being said to you. And you can even ask them to write notes, because you come out of the appointment and you're just spinning with information and concern. And so important things may have been said to you, but you don't necessarily take it in, And if you have somebody with you, that kind of support I found was really helpful. In fact, one of the things I started to do every time I went to the doctor was I'd take my iPad and I'd tell the doctor I'm going to record our session on my iPad so that I could go back and listen to what he said. I never had a doctor refuse. That say, no, you can't do that. No, it's just because that information and that knowledge is really helpful in helping you cope. It doesn't change the diagnosis, it doesn't change the treatment, but it really helps you make decisions in how you cope. The best advice I've received, believe that you can be healed. That's probably where you really need to begin. Because if you really believe you can be healed, you you're taking away a lot of fear, a lot of anxiety. And it allows you the liberty then to find ways to ensure that you're going to be healed, to engage in the treatment and decide what kind of treatment you really want to have, because there's lots of options. To engage in other kinds of things like diet changes and physical activity changes, I think really believe, and I think my wife was the one who repeated that message more than anybody else, and so I probably would say that was the best advice that I got. I was very fortunate that my family became very engaged in helping me through the preparation for treatment. My kids did research for me online and were feeding me information about prostate cancer, about the various types of treatment. We looked at all the options for treatment, and collectively came to the conclusion that I would take radiation treatment over something else. I honestly don't think it's changed my family relationships. It's probably bonded us together in a stronger way. I don't think any family can go through a potentially life-threatening diagnosis without coming together, and you certainly become much more aware of your vulnerability and any fear that comes with that. So you start working on those fear issues too, and that's kind of a part of the healing process, because that's another whole part of your being, where we carry a lot of fear about things with you, and when you start facing them and you kind of whittle away at the things that are causing the fear, then you start feeling much more liberated as a human being, as a person, as an individual. So it becomes a much more than just a physical journey when you really get serious about healing and being healed in a whole way, and not just dealing with the cancer, but dealing with all the things that causes cancer or potentially can cause cancer: your diet, your lifestyle, the stresses around you, your relationships, and you just work more and more and more on those. And I feel like I'm a much healthier person today than I was 2 years ago. When I was first diagnosed, I went through all the gymnastics I think everybody goes through when they face a serious diagnosis like cancer. You question where's it going to go. This was just after Christmas that I was diagnosed, and wondered if I had just gone through my last Christmas. You know, you ask the ultimate question, is this the end for me? And that triggers a whole lot of other explorations, and I think for me anyways, it became not only a medical journey, but a whole being journey. It's all about who you are as a person, how you manage your spirit, how you manage your emotions, and how you manage your relationships. And they really rush right to the foreground, all of those things. And you start working on all of those things. You do double checks on your relationships, and frankly, relationships, those around you, those close to you, are vital to your whole well-being as you go through the process of being treated. I had many friends who were offering prayers for me and supporting me in a spiritual way, and I think that was as critical as anything. Then I supplemented the medical care with acupuncture and naturopathic care. A lot of people dismiss it. I wasn't prepared to dismiss anything. I wanted to make sure that any option out there that was available to me, I would open myself to it. So I went to a traditional Aboriginal healer, 2 of them. I went to a healing touch practitioner, I went to an acupuncturist, I went to a naturopath, and I went to our regular medical clinic. I think I am much healthier today because I took a holistic approach to my healing process. I didn't depend on one drug or one person, because no one person has all the answers you need. You need to open yourselves to as much information and as much advice as you can get. And you need to be open to allowing professional people with skills in different areas to contribute to your healing process. Don't just rely on running to the doctor. Get engaged yourself and take responsibility for yourself. I'm not putting doctors down. They have their place, and it's important and critical and vital. And without them, I wouldn't be well. I know that. But they aren't the only ones who helped make me well. The love of my family, the spiritual support of my family, my friends, and the other professional practitioners that I saw all contributed to my healing. And I'm grateful for all of that.